to the AM News, and let's start with our first story. The government is celebrating what it calls a major economic turnaround, painting a picture of a nation emerging from the shadows of economic despair to full recovery. Presenting the 2025 mid-year budget review, Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson insisted the storm is over, backed by a falling inflation, a rebounding Cedi, and stronger reserves. We have more in this report.
It was a dramatic start to the 2025 mid-year budget session. The minority caucus, led by Frank Anodompre, walked out of Parliament after the Speaker cut short concerns about electoral violence during the Ablekuma North by-election.
We cannot be part of the presentation of the mid-year budget. And to that extent, Speaker, to that extent, we are exiting the Parliament and cannot be part of this process.
Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson rose to deliver what he described as the story of Ghana's economic revival.
Right Honourable Speaker, beyond the numbers, this is a story of sound leadership, better economic management, and a restoration of hope to a nation once in despair.
Dr. Forson says inflation has dropped from 23.8% at the end of last year to 13.7% in June 2025, the lowest in over 3 years.
The Ghana Cedi has demonstrated exceptional resilience and strength in recent months. At the end of June 2025, the Ghana Cedi appreciated by 42.6% against the US dollar, 30.3% against the British pound, and 25.6% against the euro. This is a significant reversal compared to the same period in 2024 when the Cedi depreciated by 18.6%, 17.9%, and 16.0% respectively. I repeat, so far, we have almost reversed all the Cedi depreciation in 2022, 2023, and 2024. This level of appreciation has never happened in the history of our country. Mr. Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, fellow citizens, Ghana Cedi no apeke.
But the recovery story is not just in numbers. The government says it is also spending, not just saving. It listed payments covering bondholders, free SHS, NHIS, and even allowances for teacher and nurses trainees.
An amount of $700 million US dollars of Eurobond obligations has been paid. An amount of 10 billion to domestic bondholders has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 2.9 billion Ghana Cedis to the District Assembly's Common Fund has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 2.7 billion Ghana Cedis to the Social Security and National Insurance Trust has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 9.1 billion Ghana Cedis to the energy sector for stable power supply has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 5 billion Ghana Cedis of arrests has been paid. Right Honourable Speaker, an amount of 4.6 billion to the Ghana Education Trust Fund has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 1 billion Ghana Cedis to the free secondary education program has been paid. Mr. Speaker, an amount of 4.6 billion.
Another major announcement, the full recapitalization of the struggling National Investment Bank.
By taking these major steps, we have preserved depositors' fund valued at 6.4 billion Ghana Cedis. We have also saved over 900 direct jobs at the National Investment Banks. Mr. Speaker, we have preserved an indigenous Ghanaian bank. But Mr. Speaker, let me state this. Unlike the previous administration, we chose to spend to save a bank than spend to collapse a bank.
Dr. Forson also outlined major infrastructure priorities, from roads and bridges to hospitals and e-learning centers, under the Big Push and 24-hour economy programs. And with prices still biting, the finance minister made a direct appeal to traders.
I wish to take this opportunity to thank our cherished traders at Mokola for their valuable insight. Mr. Speaker, the update on the Cedi and the prices, as said earlier, clearly shows that we have taken deliberate and decisive action to ensure that the challenges with exchange rate and prices are tackled head-on. Mr. Speaker, let me assure all Ghanaians that the stability in the exchange rate and the lower prices we are experiencing will be sustained.
Citing improved credit ratings and rising investor confidence, the government says it is borrowing less and spending more strategically without asking for any additional appropriations.
Mr. Speaker, macroeconomic target. Economic development in the first half of the year do not warrant a revision to the macroeconomic target and the appropriations bill. Mr. Speaker, I am not asking for additional money from the Appropriations Act.
Dr. Ato Forson says this is the economic reset Ghana was promised and insists the data backs it. But with political tension rising and cost of living pressures persisting, the road ahead may still be bumpy.
Away from that, in a dramatic show of protest, members of the minority in Parliament staged a walkout just moments before the presentation of the 2025 mid-year budget review. But the action did not end in Parliament, led by its leaders. The minority moved in a convoy to deliver separate petitions to the diplomatic corps, the presidency and CODEO, alleging electoral violence, security manipulation, and government inaction on illegal mining. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante was embedded in the convoy and filed this report.
On the day set for major national economic briefing, the minority caucus in Parliament chose protest over participation, staging a dramatic walkout just before the finance minister could present the 2025 mid-year budget. Their message: democracy is under threat. Led by Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Pejay and Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre, the group took their protest beyond Parliament to the gates of the diplomatic community.
Today, you agree with me that we are even having a statement on the floor of Parliament on the mid-year review. But we find it very urgent to come and protest and let the whole world know that the violence that took place at the rerun of our election is something that needs to be addressed by the current government.
The petition cited incidents during the Blekuma North parliamentary rerun, including voter intimidation, physical assaults, and what the minority described as security forces looking away while chaos reigned.
The doors are locked, but that's what you can see here.
From there, the convoy proceeded to the seat of government, the Jubilee House. A banner reading "Stop the Violence" led the charge. The minority were welcomed by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, alongside Deputy Chiefs of Staff, Standogbe and Nana Oyebampoado, as well as the President's Legal Counsel, Marietta Brew Apiapo. The minority's petition accused the government of turning a blind eye to the deteriorating security situation and failing to act on illegal mining ravaging the environment.
We are upbeat about subsequent elections to be held in our country. We are also worried about Galamsey. And it was one of your messages that you trumpeted with all the promise, rightly or wrongly. Now it's getting out of hand. Now, if we don't hear anything, and it is business as usual, it is absolute silence, we are not going to hear anything. This is just the beginning of a series of actions we are going to stage in this country.
Deputy Chief of Staff Standogbe accepted a petition on behalf of the presidency.
So I've received your petition on behalf of the Chief of Staff and the President, and we'll do well to present it to you.
The final stop was the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, where the MPs sought independent validation of their claims and called for reform. From Parliament to the presidency and the diplomatic community, the minority say this is only the beginning of a broader resistance. Whether their concerns lead to change or to deepen political tensions remains to be seen. The minority did not stay in this chamber to listen to the finance minister present the media budget review. But deep truth sources and very high-placed persons are telling me they're going to study the content of the finance minister's presentation and do make a public statement on that as to whether or not they agree with the finance minister that the economy has turned for the better and they have improved on what they inherited from the NPP or not. Time will tell. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Now, 13 years after his passing, government is taking steps to restore a monument built in memory of the late President John Evans Atta Mills. At a solemn wreath-laying ceremony in Cape Coast, President Mahama announced plans to renovate the now neglected Atta Mills Presidential Library, a facility once envisioned as a national hub for learning and legacy. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Sorrowful hymns fill the air as hundreds gather, including family members of the late president, government officials, NDC party leaders, President Mahama and Vice President Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, all present alongside other top dignitaries. Songs eulogizing the late president's humility were also sung during the ceremony. In his speech, Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, expressed relief that the confusion which marred last year's celebration when another group led by former NDC executive Kweku Anyidoho held a parallel event at the same venue has been resolved.
Exactly a year ago, when I was invited to give a brief comments as I'm doing, at this commemoration, I struggled to contain my anger about what I saw in the morning. But I mustered enough courage to declare that what we were seeing on that day will be the last time any such thing will happen at the commemoration of the passing of the King of Peace. Because for the past so many years, we have had to endure the contradiction of commemorating the passing of a man of peace in the midst of some confusion.
The late president's sister, Araba Kwashi, appealed to President Mahama to intervene in the deteriorating state of the library built in honor of her brother,
which was inaugurated about 10 years ago in Cape Coast, which seems not to have anything going on there. But we hope that as we are back, something will happen.
President Mahama assured the family that the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Library will be renovated and upgraded. He acknowledged the country's current challenges and said the reset agenda he's championing is grounded in the foundation of the Better Ghana agenda initiated by the late President Mills.
Our auntie raised the issue of the Professor Mills Memorial Library. The Honorable Kofi Totobikwache has been involved with that library from the time it was built. And after we left office, it was handed over to the University of Cape Coast, I remember. After we left office, it fell into a state of disrepair. And we had held this discussion already. And I can tell you that Kofi Totobi and a small group are already working on bringing that memorial library back to the shape in which it should be.
Wreaths were laid by President Mahama, Vice President Nana Akufo-Addo, and other top-party dignitaries in honor of the late statesman.
Now, the rector of the Indian School of Business and Technology, Reverend Professor Daniel Ejapon Nyako, has called on government and educational authorities to give greater attention to the welfare of Ghanaian teachers. His appeal comes in the wake of recent protests by some teachers at the Ghana Education Service headquarters over unpaid allowances. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 7th quadrennial and 54th Regional Delegates Conference of the NAT Central Region Chapter, Reverend Professor Nyako underscored the vital role teachers play and urged that they be treated with the respect and recognition they deserve. Abigail Esel Nkrumah has more in this report.
Delegates from across several municipalities and the metropolitan in the Central Region gathered at the Indom School of Business and Technology for the 7th Quadrennial 54th Regional Delegates Conference. The Central Regional Chairperson of NAT, Benjamin Wilberforce Ishen, indicated that the conference is a platform to exchange ideas on the challenges of education and teaching in the 21st century, reflecting on the theme of the conference.
The theme for conference is Educating an African Face for the 21st Century, the role of policymakers and the unions in Ghana. This has a lot of meaning for governments and us. This forum will offer us the opportunity to learn and share ideas on the vested issues of education and teaching in the 21st century, as we are obliged not only to work together, but succeed together.
The Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has accumulated several achievements over the years, and the national president of the association, Reverend Isaac Owusu, acknowledged some of these successes.
Once we are growing as an organization, there is a need for us to get our own hospital. And so we purchased the facility. As at the time we purchased, we were only having one structure. But if you go there today, with the help of the two boards, we've been able to put up additional structures at the hospital. And most importantly, we needed a PET scan that can locate exactly which part of your body is the cancer hiding. You cannot just look at the person's appearance and say, oh, if you are suffering from cancer, then it's here. And it was a very expensive machine. The whole of West Africa, it is only Nigeria that has a PET scan. Kwalibu is not having. Konfanochi is not having. But today, as we speak, NAT has a PET scan in Ghana.
Reverend Professor Daniel Ejapon Nyako called on government and education stakeholders to pay critical attention to the Ghanaian teacher.
It is high time the government of Ghana and the educational authorities paid a more serious attention to the Ghanaian teacher at all levels of our educational system. Educating today's child is no longer a linear task. It demands innovation, equity, and collective responsibility. By embracing their respective roles and collaborating effectively, policymakers and unions in Ghana and Africa can lay the foundation for a more resilient, enlightened, and globally competitive generation.
From Ayensudo in the KEA municipality, Abigail Esel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
In a contest that delivered both brilliance and inspiration, Aminiampong Senior High School yesterday qualified for the 2025 NSMQ after scoring a record-breaking 82 points, the highest in the regional qualifier so far, under the leadership of a physically challenged teacher. We have more in this report.
our coordinator is the best coordinator in the whole. I can say our coordinator is the best coordinator because she has been training us very well. She has been giving us all the equipment and all the books that we need. And now he has been punishing us a little bit, and he also likes insulting us. That makes us more encouraged.
One last one. What role did your coordinator play in this particular qualification? We've seen that right after the contest, they've been praising him, raising him up. Is there anything special that he added to the training?
Yes. Our coordinator has been helping us very much. He's a very hard-working man. Sometimes I recall he will be leaving campus around 10 p.m. For a man of his stature, it's very hard. Even I couldn't do that. Even as a student, around 10 I get sleepy and all that. But he will be with us from 6 at as early as 6 o'clock. He's in school and will be leaving around 10 to 11 p.m. We have to clap for Onipa. Onipa has done very well.
Right. Well, that's a business update now. And senior country partner at auditing and accounting firm PwC Fish Ahiagbo has stated that the mid-year budget will instill and inspire confidence to the investor community. According to him, although the macroeconomic indicators are pointing to the right direction, government still need to show commitment to fiscal prudence. Reacting to the 2025 mid-year budget presentation, Mr. Ahiagbo urged managers of the economy must work at sustaining the positive trajectory.
Well, I think the signals are positive. The signals are indeed positive because if you look at the budget that was read in March and the performance for the first few months, or let's even say for the first half year, we're pretty much on track. And the projections, I actually believe that he was being a little conservative in terms of, because he maintained the targets for the year. But if you look at the progress that we've made in the first half, one would anticipate that the end year numbers would actually be pretty strong. I think he acknowledged that when he spoke about inflation, for example, when he said we expect to meet the target ahead of the end of the year, the 11.9% target. So to your question, from an investor's perspective, I think it instills and inspires confidence, which we've seen as reflected in the exchange rate, for example. We've seen the debt to GDP ratios and all of those indicators moving in the right direction. The question is, which is always the case, whether we can stay the course.
And that does it for the news on the AM show. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Please do stay.